flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Commissioner Candelaria won't be with us today or tomorrow. Other than that, we have review of the 2024 through 2026 CDAP update draft from Heather Otter, Region 9. Heather. Yes, please.
Hi, Travis and Ian, commissioners. Thanks for your time today.
You
I'm
bet.
Heather Otter. I am the project manager at Region 9 Economic Development District. So we're your planning and economic development district for the 5 counties and the 2 tribes of Southwest Colorado. And today I bring forward the draft of the new cycle for the Community Development Action Plan, or CDAP for short. So this piece today, it's part of the region's comprehensive economic development strategy, and it's one of the things we use as our evaluation framework. It answers the question, how are we doing? And so there's several measures that we use to address that question, one of which is the CDAP. And so this addresses priority projects for Montezuma County and for its communities. This is not meant to capture every single project. Rather, it represents projects from a range of organizations that have been prioritized for economic development and resiliency and align with existing plans. So one note here is that we at Region 9 do not dictate what goes on your CDAP or any of the counties and communities for that matter. This is really, we do a thorough review of existing plans. So it might be the CDOT Region 5 Transportation Plan, it might be a strategic plan from a large employer like the hospital, or it would be plans that all of the communities have or the county has in place. And again, the focus is on economic and community development. So what I'd like to do today is first go over the ones that were completed from the last cycle. I like to start with things that were completed and moved off. The CDAPs, we look at them every 2 years, and those projects can either be something that is slated for completion within 2 years, it's got funding associated with it, it's part of an existing or multiple plans, or it may be a phased project, something that's larger, that we look at pieces of it every 2-year cycle, okay? So from the last cycle, 2021 through 2023, the full CDAP had 45 projects on it, and there were 6 that were completed. That's very good. So there's a list of them here, as you can see, by category, the project itself, and what the outcomes and impacts were. So it includes the Calkins School Building in Cortez, to name a few. There were some from transportation, so a few of those that were on the CDOT plan have been completed and moved off. So 6 were done. On this new plan, if you go to the next page on this overview, there were 7 projects that were recommended from removal for this next cycle. Reasons for removal can vary, but typically it's because they are no longer a priority or they need to be moved to be reconsidered at a future date, or they may have lost funding. Again, the reasons vary. And so 2 of them that we're going to move off, it mentions projects that were under Ute Mountain Youth provisions. And the reason for that is they've completed a CEDS and they have their own project list. We used to publish we were given permission just to publish the name of their CEDS under Montezuma County's CDAP and CEDS. Now they have provided permission that the projects can be listed as a standalone CDAP, just like the rest of the counties and communities. And so they will publish their priority projects this time around. So we were really happy to hear about that. And then you'll notice that there was one under tourism regarding film industry. As you know, we do get looked at in this area for film industry projects, but there has been no activity on that particular project since the last cycle, and there was none planned for priority funding in this cycle. The business development, the 20-acre industrial park in Cortez, the city wishes to revisit that at a later time, so that may come on in a future CDAP. And then we had some projects around Montezuma County schools and the school district. We are actually recommending that we remove those particular outcomes and impacts and remove that project until which time the board and the district work through their new strategic plan and create some priorities. There just wasn't anything that was defined enough at this time, and so we can revisit that in the future. And then finally, Dolores area attraction and visitation. No organized activities to meet the metrics planned for this cycle. Dolores, the town of Dolores, has actually some new priorities on deck regarding workforce housing and a few other things, which you'll see. So those we are recommending for removal. And so that leaves us with 35 projects that are progressing from the last cycle and recommended to remain on. And then there are 11 new projects that were added, totaling 46 for this next cycle. Each of these projects is linked to the state's resiliency framework. And the reason for that is that most of the folks that you work with who are applying for grants, whether that's the county or one of the organizations, resiliency is a big piece of grant funding right now. They want to see how these kinds of things will be sustainable, but also, and especially in communities that have been designated as distressed in some way or another like ours, whether it's a enhanced enterprise zone or whether it's opportunity zone, those kinds of things are addressing resiliency. So we've gone ahead and taken the lead on just linking the projects to those for the CDAP so that it's easy to call out, whether that's in a grant application or some other business measure. All right, so then if you go to the third page here, let's talk about ranking for just a moment. The projects are ranked based on 5 criteria, and the way that they are ranked has changed over the years. So if you have been a part of this from past cycles, the burden really came to the Board of County Commissioners to rank everybody's projects. So when we updated the big comprehensive strategy in 2021, there was a lot of discussion around taking the full burden of the ranking off of the county commissioners, because you guys are the final approval as our highest level of local government, and allowing and putting that burden back onto the organizations that do it, and to have a more standardized criteria for the ranking, and that's what you see on this page. So at this point, we started that in the last CDAP cycle, and it'll go forward for this one so that it's really only the county's projects that you will be asked to rank. I did have pre-meetings with Travis and staff, so much of the ranking has been discussed, and the recommended that's here, again, is through those discussions with your county administrator or your staff, okay? Any questions about the ranking before I move on?
On the last page, I was looking at number 29, which is new, row
Yes.
G to the state line. It doesn't have a ranking. It's left blank.
Right, and so that, I'm glad that you brought that up. There are a couple there that don't have a ranking, and we would ask that the county ranks that based on those criteria here.
Okay.
Sometimes new projects we leave, especially if it's county-related project, for you to rank.
Okay.
All right, and so the list that you see here on the last 2 pages just numbers the projects. Also, for ease of looking at these, you'll notice that the communities' names are now in front of their projects. Now, notice that there will be some projects that overlap the county and your communities. Let me give you an example. One of the new projects has to do with the state opioid funding. This would be number 9 on the list, opioid abatement. And as you know, the Southwest Opioid Response District, or SWORD, has an MOU with the state. Yourselves, all the other county governments, and all the municipalities are signed on to that. For that reason, the project is listed on every county's CDAP the same for this cycle. And so that would be an example of things that overlap. Otherwise, you'll see that Cortez has the word Cortez in front of it, same for Dolores, and same for Mancos. All right, so with that, the other larger document that you were given is not one that I'll be going through in detail today unless there are questions. This is one that is for your reference, and it goes into detail for everyone that's listed here. Who are the key partners, who are the funding partners, and then what are the expected outcomes or impacts over the next 2 years. My ask today is that this draft is something that is looked at and that we could schedule for final approval. In the past, the county has done this by resolution, and I'm happy to provide, I'm sure it's also on record, you have that resolution. But with your review, there's really just looking at the county level projects, the ones that do not have a community name in front of them, making sure that they make sense and look good, with the understanding that the staff and the county administrator and these organizations have already been through working through these projects. So the idea was to get most of that work done before bringing them to you. And then with that, we would need a ranking on those ones, to your point, Commissioner Lindsay, that don't have a ranking and the criteria is there.
All right.
The timeline for approval, it will be at your convenience. We would ask that, if possible, at the very latest, we could have the approval complete before the end of January. So if you request us to come back for that, we are very happy to do that. It's also fine that if it looks good and you add those edits, Travis and I can communicate about those final edits. I will send in a final copy, and you can do it without our staff here if that suits you.
Sounds good. Yeah, we'll get together and rank these and let you know.
Okay.
We'll
thank
get her
you.
done.
All right. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. All right, next up, Leslie Bugg, our assessor. She's going to discuss contract for services in the assessor's office. Excuse me.
Hello.
Hi.
So this is just the task contract for service, Total Assessment Solutions. They're the ones who value our personal property for oil and gas. Contract has not changed at all. Price is still the same as last year, $29,000. Any questions?
Have you looked at it?
Did attach
yet?
a copy.
Yeah.
I think, did you guys get it? Or-
I have the copy.
Okay.
I've looked at it. I mean, it's a very, very simple contract. It's pretty much they're gonna do
Right.
the valuations, we're gonna pay them.
Yep.
So,
And he,
pretty bare bones.
He does evaluations, and then I think this next year he's gonna come and we're gonna actually go to some wells and look at some stuff too. So, and that's
good.
included in this contract price.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like quite a bit of work that they do, so.
Yeah, and without him valuing the Kinder Morgan personal property, we wouldn't have a value for them because they're not included in the basic equipment list
Right.
that the ARL has us use for oil and gas equipment. So we, thanks to them, we have our value for Kinder Morgan.
How long have we used this service, Leslie?
Since Mark Vanderpool was here.
Okay. So this goes back
Way
even
back.
before the 2009, 2010 tax year?
I think it all came about at about the same time we did that first audit.
Okay,
He came in and helped us get a value, and then the same with Mary Ellen when she was contracted to do
yep.
the production audit, so it was about the same time, so probably around 2009.
Yep. I know some of the information we used in our Kinder Morgan suit, and it was very vital and helpful, so.
Yeah, we actually, that was when I was in here before,
Okay,
when we had that done.
Okay.
And we actually went to the state and tried to convince them that they shouldn't be considered any different than a natural gas well. And they absolutely refused to consider them as the same. But you look at the well sites, they're no different. There's not enough difference there to say put, but they would not, the state would not consider them like these other wells.
Well,
So
and
you
just
have to
like-
go through a whole evaluation
Yep, it being
thing specifically just for
55%.
them to get.
Exactly, and it being 55% of our income.
Yeah.
And not being able to value the equipment.
Yeah. And we weren't
Kind of leaves
before.
us, I know,
We weren't before that. So it was,
it helped us out a lot.
yeah.
Okay, shouldn't take too long tomorrow then, huh? You don't need to be here,
Do you want me just to leave the original with you guys?
please.
Okay.
Yeah, because we'll have to do it tomorrow.
I'll just go ahead and sign it today and then leave it with you, and then Kim has to sign it too and put her stamp on it. So I'll just sign my part, and then we can just,
Okay.
she can bring it back over to me tomorrow afternoon.
Sure.
Cool, that would be great.
Give it to Travis, please. Thank you. Have a good day.
Trying.
Okay. Okay, Rob is here to discuss the Rural Technical Assistant Funding Program. Program fundings, pardon me.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Travis Cian. The Rural Technical Assistance Program funding, it's funding that Montezuma County is eligible for as part of the Roadmaps grant program that we've been part of for the last, I'd say, about 2 years. As part of winding down the economic development position at the county and in conversations with OEDIT, who is the funder for this, they're asking for us, for Montezuma County, to apply for this funds and then transfer it to the Montezuma Leadership Network, who has been a partnership in the Roadmaps program, and then they'll continue on with the facilitation. But since we're the grantee from the beginning, they asked that we kind of continue through this. There won't be any ongoing administration costs. It'll be a one invoice, one-time payment early next year once the grant is contracted and everything. But that's really all about I have for it. It's for $41,000 total, and it'll continue to help with economic development work in the county, but not by the county.
Okay. You have anything, Gerald? I don't have any questions for you.
I
This is
appreciate it.
pretty simple stuff.
It is, yeah. Thank you.
You bet. Thanks, Rob. Moving right along. Jennifer Morris, our Transportation Director and also our Senior Services Director, is going to discuss fee schedules.
Yes, sir.
We discussing senior center fee schedules or
Yeah.
transportation?
Yeah,
Okay.
we updated transportation last year, I think, so I think we're good for that for a while. Okay. So, we were looking at the fees for the senior center. We have usually a $100 deposit on the annex. We don't have one for the kitchen or the senior center. So we were thinking about doing a $200 deposit for if they use the annex or they use the kitchen or both. And then that's fully refundable. And then the kitchen currently is $75 to rent it. And it's been being left dirty, so my cook has to clean it before she can cook for the lunches for the seniors. So I want to raise that to $150 for the kitchen. And then our hourly rate is $25 right now. We want to raise it to $35. The flip side of that with the deposits is it's $65 to have somebody come in and mop it, have the cleaning people come in and mop it, because it's $65 an hour, so give or take. And then the kitchen, though, is the cook. She has to clean that before she can use it. So what I was wanting to do is take part of that $200 deposit and give her kind of like a bump for if she has to clean it, and I check it anyway. I always go in there and check it between people because sometimes it's just left super dirty. And then, it takes her an hour to clean it before she can start. So, so that's what I was kind of thinking for maybe the deposit. If we raise the deposit and we end up keeping it because it's not clean, then we could, you know, get it clean. Let's see. Yeah, so that's the fees, really. Is that clear as mud?
No, I got it.
Okay. So that's what we're wanting to do. And we've
So
been
you-
looking, I'm sorry.
So the bump would just be in addition to the cook's salary, or?
Yeah, just out of the deposit. You see what I'm saying? It would just, because we pay cleaners to come in and clean, and it's $65 an hour to clean it. If she takes an hour to clean the kitchen, she doesn't get any extra, but she has to do that before she can start getting meals out. And Meals on Wheels are out by 10:30, so.
Yeah, to walk off and leave that kitchen dirty.
But
Right.
well,
Yeah,
Normally, you know, I mean, sometimes we can call them back and say, come back and clean it, but the kitchen itself, she has to use it that day.
yes, she does.
You know, I mean, she's the one cleaning it, you know, to use it, so. And then I've called around a little bit, and there's the deposits are pretty good size for the Lewis Grange, is it the Grange?
No, it's a.
Community center.
Community center.
Yeah. And then, like Farmington, there's a lady that came from Farmington. She said she pays so much more for a facility down there that's not even as nice as our annex. She came and rented it today. So, so I mean, you know, I think be a little more competitive maybe.
I think so.
So that's my thoughts
I
on
guess,
that.
and this is not a legal issue at all. I'm just confused because, I mean, the cook's on duty anyway, right?
Right.
So she's just doing her job when she cleans the kitchen. I mean, it's no different than any other day at work.
She's
just
gotta take the time away from her job to do
Yeah.
what somebody else should have done.
She's
Right.
cleaning it twice when it
Yeah.
should have been
Right.
cleaned once.
Right. Yeah, I know that, I mean, I can pay $65 to the cleaning people and maybe they'd clean it, but I don't even think that's part of theirs either, so. I know it's her job, but to do twice the work that should have been done, like the thing they had last night, the benefit, the kitchen was beautiful, you know, so it doesn't even, you know, matter in that point, but. And I'm not going to give her the money if she's not cleaning it before she, you know, has to do her job.
Got it, Travis?
Like I said, clear as mud.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, we'll take
Okay.
this under consideration and do something tomorrow.
Okay. And then the other thing I was going to talk to you guys about is the $40,000 well, we can get a $40,000 grant from the Lore Foundation, and we can get vehicles for that, or we can. What I'd like to do with it is get a part-time helper for Eileen in the kitchen because we're getting super busy. We have 50 Meals on Wheels that we deliver by 10:30, and then we have 20 to 30 seniors now. I mean, it's getting busy.
Good.
So, yeah, they're starting to come in. It's really nice. But, you know, one person getting out 70 meals, that's a lot. You know, especially if she has to clean the,
Right,
clean the
before-
kitchen first.
Yeah, before 10:30 in the morning.
Right, so, but the Lore Foundation, I mean, for a part-time person,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I was just asking if Ian, if he's seen this
Oh,
grant
okay.
proposal.
So if we did a part-time person, they really just need like 3 hours a day, 4 days a week. So that comes out to $9,672 for the year. So that would be less than 10,000 out of that 40. And then we'd like a vehicle because right now we don't have any volunteers. I mean, we're trying to get volunteers for the Meals on Wheels. So Lori's having to take her personal vehicle and go do. And I mean, I know she gets paid, but it's wear and tear on her vehicle versus, you know, if we had one. The other reason we want one is because we have a lot of people that are outside city limits that can't get meals right now. And there are a lot of people out there that depend on those meals or, you know, would, I have one person that calls all the time and he can hardly see, you know, so he can't really cook. So what I'd like to do is do like a frozen meal type thing, where we deliver once a week, you know, a hot meal that day and then frozen meals for the next week or 2 weeks, you know, kind of just see, you know. But again, you know, I don't think a volunteer was going to do that outside some city limits. So if we had a vehicle for them to use, that would be different. So that's kind of what we're thinking about.
So I guess my question is we've got all these pool vehicles, why are they not being,
That was the other thing I was
Check
going
that.
to talk to you
Yeah.
about if this didn't, you know, if you didn't think about that or want to think about that. Can we use the pool vehicles for Lori for
Yeah.
every day?
yeah, in fact, we talked about this, I don't know, 5-6 months ago. You got to do is schedule it for those days.
Okay, because it's every week, 4 days a week.
Yeah, just schedule them up and.
Okay. Okay, we can do that, because that was the other, I had that on there too. So if we can do that, then that's great, because then Lori doesn't have to use her vehicle. Okay. And then I think there's another grant too, the Next 50 grant, that also can be used for either vehicles or people, so.
Okay.
But I think one person in the kitchen to help her would be, because we don't, like I said, the volunteers went, so,
Yeah, we're seeing that with a lot of different organizations.
yeah. So, okay, so I think that's all I had for today. I'll give you the update
I
on
have you on the list
transportation
talking
tomorrow.
about using the annex for elections.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes. Sorry. Okay, so we did you see this, the worksheet we did for all those days? So that's the money that we basically use for match money. So the rental comes to, if they use them all 33 days, it's $8,250 for the year, which, like I said, is our match money. So, oh, that's the town of Rico. Yeah, no, I don't know. Did I give you that one too?
Yeah, we got that one.
Yeah, we got this,
I
but
didn't see the $8,000 one.
I probably put the wrong one in. I have one. Unless I want to get a copy of it. So basically, in 2024, for the use of the annex for all of the elections, we broke it down into how many days that was for the 3 separate times they need it. I'm sorry, 4. And then, so it's a rental of 33 days, which comes to $8,250 if we were to rent that out to somebody else. So my thoughts were, if we can't charge them, maybe if someone comes in to rent it and we can't because of this, maybe they can pay just those, you see what I'm saying? I
Yeah.
mean, does that make sense? Is
Yeah.
that clear as mud too? Because that's a lot of loss for.
I don't understand what you're saying, sorry.
I got it. She wants to offset, because she could have rented it out for a day and just charged elections for
$250.
that day.
Right,
Other days, she's not renting out, no charge, I guess.
right, right. It's just a lot of loss for a
Right.
program that has, you know, so low a budget anyway, so, or money coming in, I should say. You want this paper? You can have this. I can send it, I'll send it to you, and then I must have sent the wrong thing
That was
out.
for 33 days?
33 days is what they need the annex for, yeah. So like I said, it comes out to $8,250.
Okay. Let us kick this around and try and figure it out.
That's fine. And I will send that to you, so you have the right thing. I mean, that other one we'll talk about tomorrow, but. Any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Kim, you have anything? Okay. All righty.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
you want the sheriff to come up
Sure.
first?
Well, grab Sheriff Nowlin. So we don't keep you too long. We'll move you up.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Afternoon.
This was a pretty fast grant through the Lore Foundation. that was applied for to obtain weight and wellness training equipment for the sheriff's office training basement at the sheriff's office. They have fully funded and want to give us $19,115, which which they show on the grant contract here from December the 6th through June the 30th of next year. And I guess I ought to put that up there. Sorry.
I got it up for you, Sheriff.
You got it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Page 2. Well, I don't know. It was kind of messed up. So, on the page that shows what the equipment is listed at the top for a value of $19,115. We lost a lot of equipment when it flooded this spring.
Oh, that's right.
And I'm going to put a plug in for building maintenance that we really need to get that stairwell covered. It was just, they replaced the pump, which was great, but that water goes down into that stairwell, and it just running in. So I don't think we want a indoor pool. So.
Pretty simple, straightforward.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
There's no other expenses. We just buy it, they pay for it, so
Yeah.
it's good.
Good.
Anything else, Gerald?
I don't. No, it's
Okay.
pretty straightforward, so it's no problem.
All right.
I don't have anything further. Sorry. Thanks.
Mental state of your officers, okay? We doing all right after?
It's just a very lengthy process when you're involved with killing someone. And he's doing all right.
Okay.
It's just that because it's so long
Yeah.
of a process.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll go through the psychological evaluation later this month, so that I want to do that before the district attorney finally reviews and comes up with an opinion, just so that I'm ready to put him back to work.
Okay.
It's really important to do that, but he's doing well, and I'll tell you, I appreciate everybody in the community and the outreach and everything that's happened. Everybody's been very supportive, and that means a whole lot. In today's age, it means a hell of a lot, okay? But, having a loss, but the other thing is trying to make sure that we can prevent anything from happening again, if we can. That is probably the biggest struggle that we all have, and that's what we put so much emphasis on, decision-making and thinking about what you do before you do it each and every time that you do anything on any call. And because we're always behind the ball. That person already knows what they are going to do long before we'll ever know. But that puts a psychological value on the officers that I don't want them to fear that, but we want them to be prepared. And that's what all of that training that we've been doing over the past 8 years has been all about. And it's paid off.
And our citizens have to realize that when they are stopped or pulled over, whatever,
Yeah.
that there is that anticipation by those officers.
There
They
is.
have to realize
Yeah.
that you don't.
Yep, there is. And you don't want it to go overboard either.
Right.
Okay, and that's that fine line that just reemphasizing the training that they've been given, and understand that, be prepared. But, understand that, we're here in southwestern Colorado. Everybody carries a gun. So, that's just the way that it is. They're everywhere. And Cortez is a pipeline for all of our criminal activity that comes on into this country, comes through here.
I see it's
So much.
about to get worse because Arizona is now the target of immigration.
Exactly. I don't know. I just want our citizens to be safe. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Is just be attentive to your surroundings, and you see something, say something. And everybody's been really good about that. So I appreciate it.
You bet.
Thanks.
Good, good.
Thank you, Steve.
Thanks.
Thanks.
Travis, you want to talk about the holiday schedule?
The button work. So this isn't much different than what we've had in the past, still 10 days. The only thing that's really different is a lot of offices are closed on Fridays. And so we just kind of followed the Monday through Thursday schedule.
Okay.
It's right there. I mean, there's not a lot to,
Yeah,
not a lot to say.
yeah.
Yeah.
Any feedback from employees? Just,
No, we wanted to get this in front of the commissioners first and
Okay.
then push it out and see what they want to, see what their thoughts are. But again, a lot of the offices are closed on Fridays,
yeah.
and so we went with the Monday through Thursday.
Looks good. Gerald, do you have any?
So I'm just looking at it like the day after Thanksgiving, for instance,
Yeah.
that Friday. I mean, a lot of county offices are closed, but not all county offices are closed that day. I mean, for instance, my office works on that Friday, and I think that social services does. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of offices that do work the 5 days.
Right.
I guess that would be my only concern is, I mean, if you're not an office that's on a 4-day schedule, then are you
Yeah.
expected to come in and work that Friday?
No, so what we've told other offices is, close instead of working 8 to 5, maybe you work 9 to 4 or whatever. Adjust those hours throughout the week and then claim that Friday as a holiday
You know,
or the Thursday as a holiday. So,
I was, the only other thing I see, Travis, is, of course, we got New Year's Day off, and then we got Martin Luther King Day on January the 15th. But then we've got a pretty good span between that day and May 27th, Memorial Day. You think they would want to trade something off to go in there, to fill that big old span that's there? See what I'm,
yeah, I mean, that's possible, but
Okay.
we'll see what feedback we get.
because we're coming in 2 weeks after a holiday and right on to another holiday.
And I certainly hear what you're saying, but I do think that day after Thanksgiving should be defined. That's just my personal take. I think if you don't define that, then
Yeah.
it's just hanging out there, and I mean, that's tough.
Yeah.
I agree. I think we should. There's so many people not gonna show up that day that it's not gonna matter. I'm afraid. You know what I mean? I think if anything, if he's gonna just keep the same number of days, I'd do away with that Indigenous Day and put the day after Thanksgiving. I mean, my opinion, if we had to take one of them out to make that day after Thanksgiving, I think that most people would rather do that and have,
Okay.
I don't know,
I don't have.
or make that a, what did we have last year? We,
I'm also looking, I mean, President's Day is February 19th,
We don't do President's Day.
but you talked about the long
Yeah.
span.
Right,
I
we
mean,
could-
we could conceivably switch MLK Day for President's Day, and that would alleviate that concern.
Right. Okay.
I'm just thinking out loud here. I mean,
Right.
I don't really care, but if that's a concern for you guys, that's another way we could go.
What I'll do is I'll get it back to HR and
Okay. Let's,
move the ideas forward,
yeah, I mean, the number of days is pretty well set, but maybe we can swap something out.
swap something out.
Yeah. Like Indigenous Day or MLK Day or,
So would you guys, I mean, I think just so HR has some guidance, would you guys be looking at
we could plug it in.
exchanging MLK Day for President's Day?
Yeah, we could
And
do
then
that
Indigenous Day
for the day
for the
after.
day after Thanksgiving?
Yeah. I know you eat a lot on Thanksgiving, so
Man, I'm usually the day after Thanksgiving,
you're pretty shot, huh?
I'm pretty shot.
Okay,
That's it?
all right. Anything else to come before this workshop board? Hearing nothing, we're adjourned.